All right, let's dive deep into probably the most complex and incredible machine on the entire planet, which is you. We are going on a journey into the body's command center, that amazing internal communication network that lets you think, feel, move, and basically be you. So, have you ever really stopped to think about it? You decide, I want to pick up that glass of water. And boom, a split second later, your hand is moving, doing exactly that. How in the world does that command travel from a thought in your head all the way to your fingertips? Well, answering that one question is what this whole explainer is all about. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big picture, kind of like looking at the blueprint for the entire system. Then we'll zoom way into the actual electric signals themselves. After that, we'll take a trip to mission control. Yep, the brain. And finally, we'll see how all of this comes together to literally build your reality. Okay, first up, let's get our bearings by looking at the master blueprint for the body's incredibly complex electrical grid. This is the 30,000-foot view of how everything is wired together. So the whole thing is called the neural system. And at its core, it's all about one thing: speed. Think about pulling your hand back from a hot stove. That happens before you even consciously register the pain, right? That's the power of this point-to-point network. And the single most important building block of this entire system is a special little cell called a neuron. You know, for how complicated this all is, the basic organization is actually pretty simple. The entire nervous system is split into just two main parts. Think of it like this. You've got a central headquarters, and then you have all the cables and wires connecting that HQ to everything out in the field. And here they are. The central nervous system, or CNS, is just the brain and the spinal cord. That's it. This is the command center, the CEO's office, where all the big decisions are made. And then you have the peripheral nervous system, or PNS, and that's, well, it's pretty much everything else. All the nerves that branch out from the brain and spine, acting like the fiber optic cables connecting that command center to every single part of your body. Okay, now that we've seen the map, let's zoom in, like way in. We're going from the entire electrical grid down to a single wire, and we're going to look at the tiny spark of electricity that carries the actual message. And here it is. This is the hero of our story, the neuron. This single cell is the workhorse, the fundamental unit of the whole system. And it is a master at doing three things and three things only. It can detect a signal, it can receive that signal, and then it can transmit that signal onward. And here's what it looks like. I know it's a little strange looking, but what you're seeing right there is the official messenger of your entire body. Every single thought you have, every emotion you feel, every word I'm saying that you're understanding right now, it's all because of millions of these little guys firing in incredibly complex patterns. We can break down its job into a super simple three-step process. First, see those branch-like things? Those are called dendrites, and their job is to receive incoming signals. Then the main cell body processes that information, and finally, that long tail, called the axon, zaps the signal away to the next neuron in the chain. So it's just receive, process, send. That's it. So how does it actually send a signal? Well, to understand that, we first have to see what it's doing when it's, well, doing nothing. A neuron at rest is basically a tiny charged-up battery. It's polarized, which is a fancy way of saying there's a positive charge built up on the outside of it and a negative charge on the inside. It's just sitting there, waiting for the trigger. This diagram shows that resting state perfectly. Take a look at part A, up at the top. You see all those plus signs on the outside? That's a whole bunch of positive sodium ions, just hanging out. They're being actively pumped out of the cell, which keeps the inside negative. The battery is fully charged. It's ready to go. And then something happens. A stimulus arrives. Maybe it's a signal from a neighboring neuron, or it's a sensory input, like a ray of light hitting your eye. Whatever it is, it's the trigger. And it changes everything. And here is the action. When that stimulus hits, bam, tiny gates on the neuron's membrane fly open, and all those positive sodium ions come rushing inside. This flood of positive charge creates a wave, a ripple of electricity that shoots down the axon. And that wave, that is the nerve impulse. It's called an action potential. And get this, it's an all-or-nothing event. The neuron doesn't fire softly or loudly. It either fires with full force or it doesn't fire at all. It's a digital system, a language of ones and zeros, racing through your body. So we have billions of these tiny sparks firing all the time. But where are they all going? Well, they're all headed to headquarters. So let's zoom back out and pay a visit to the most complex object in the known universe, mission control. And there it is, the human brain, the central information processing organ for our entire body, the ultimate command and control center. Its job is to take in that chaotic storm of electrical signals, make sense of it all, and then send out new commands to keep the whole system running. Now, we can break this amazing organ into three main parts. Up top, you have the forebrain. This is where all the higher level stuff happens: thinking, memory, emotions, communication. Then you've got the midbrain, which is kind of like a super efficient relay station connecting the forebrain and the hindbrain. And finally, the hindbrain takes care of all the crucial automatic stuff you don't think about, like breathing, reflexes, and, thanks to the cerebellum back there, your balance. Okay, for our last section, let's put it all together. How does this incredibly intricate system of wires and sparks actually build the world that you see and hear all around you right now? Let's see the system in action. So meet the official translators, the eye and the ear. These things are absolutely amazing biological instruments. Their entire job is to take physical things from the outside world, light waves and sound waves, and convert them into the only language the brain can actually understand, that electrical language of action potentials. So how do we see? It's a quick process. Light comes into your eye, it gets focused onto the retina at the very back. Now, the retina is packed with millions of tiny light-detecting cells. You've got rods, which are great for seeing in low light, and cones, which handle bright light and all the colors. When light hits these cells, they trigger that all-important action potential, which then zips down the optic nerve straight to the brain to be turned into an image. Hearing works on a really similar principle, just with vibrations instead of light. A sound wave hits your eardrum and makes it vibrate. Then, three of the tiniest bones in your body amplify that vibration and send it into the inner ear, into a snail-shaped thing called the cochlea. This creates waves in the fluid inside, which bend these tiny little hair cells. And when those hair cells bend, you guessed it, they trigger a nerve impulse that goes to the brain. And honestly, this quote from our source material really says it all. It's the whole story in one sentence. Physical light rays hit the retina, and through a chemical process, they generate an action potential, an electrical signal that's sent to the brain. From a simple wave of light to your perception of a sunset, all in the blink of an eye. So let's end on this thought. Everything you see, everything you hear, everything you've ever thought or felt, it's all just an interpretation. It's all constructed from countless simple electric sparks firing between these tiny cells. Your entire reality is an electrochemical light show happening inside your head. So, what does that mean to you? It's something to think about.